Hi, my name's Jack and I'm going to talk you through some of the processes and procedures and the thoughts that we've been having about quality control and bulk manufacture of herbal products here at Nature's Laboratory. Today we're going to look at quite a few different aspects of what we do here, beginning with who I am and then a bit about our company, Nature's Laboratory Limited, a bit about the kinds of herbal medicines that we manufacture here. And then a question, what do we mean by quality? And I want to think more broadly about quality than just the kind of nuts and bolts of product safety, which is primarily where product quality has been kind of focused over the last few years. But then we're going to take a look at HACCP principles and how we manage risk and improve quality in our manufacturing. We're going to look at how that works out in practice by looking at a few of the stages in our manufacturing process and the things that we're actually doing here on a daily basis to maintain and improve our product quality. And then we're going to have a quick think about improving extraction methods and think about how we might do that and what it might look like to improve product quality by improving our extraction. And then we're going to look at digital technology and what role that can play in all of this. And then some final thoughts on the future of herbal medicine. So, a bit about me to get started. So my name's Jack and I am the Managing Director of Nature's Laboratory Limited. I grew up in Robin Hood's Bay, just a few miles from Whitby on the North Yorkshire coast, surrounded by the North York Moors and the North Sea. But after graduating from Loughborough University in 2007 with a degree in industrial design, I moved back to Whitby and got married and started working with a local IT support firm. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I set up my own company offering website design and development and software development to small businesses in the Whitby area. And it was through that work that I got to know about Nature's Laboratory. I got to know James and some of the other team members here. And in January 2021, I was offered the opportunity to join the Nature's Laboratory team, and I did so in April last year. Outside of work, I'm married and I've got 4 children. I'm a keen long-distance runner. I've studied to become a forest school leader and also studied theology part-time over the years, so I've got plenty to keep me busy outside of work. But what do we do here at Nature's Laboratory? Well, Nature's Laboratory, as the name suggests, is a natural health company which is really focused on the research and development of natural health products and also services. We're on a mission to develop sustainable and effective natural medicines for the 21st century, and that includes plant medicines, but it also includes bee medicines and natural skincare products. As I've said, we're a research focused company and we develop natural health products for our own brands as well as for other companies that we work with. We offer contract manufacturing as a service. But as well as products, we're also looking at how organisations can operate in a healthy way. And we believe that to be a healthy organisation, you've got to be operating within social, economic and cultural parameters. So not just economic, but also thinking about how you operate within the society that you exist within and what contribution you make to our wider culture. And this is a concept kind of established and spearheaded by my colleague James, who is the founder of Nature's Laboratory. And there's also lots more links there that are actually hidden behind my face. To other projects that we're working on, but I'll put the links in the description so you can click through and see a bit more of the kind of wider work that we're doing around health and well-being. Primarily though, we are a manufacturer and we operate 3 brands, the foremost of which is Herbal Apothecary, which is a brand that produces natural medicines for practitioners. We supply one of the largest ranges of herbal medicines in the UK, and this includes things like tinctures and fluid extracts, also capsules and creams, as well as whole cut and powdered herbs and a few other kind of more specialist items. And in 2005, Nature's Laboratory moved Herbal Apothecary, which up until that point had been operating in Leicestershire, and James took over the running and the management of Herbal Apothecary and moved it to its home, where it now is in Whitby, North Yorkshire. And since then, it's gone from strength to strength, becoming one of the biggest names in herbal medicines in the UK, supplying the practitioner market. Be Vital is our propolis-based natural medicines brand. Be Vital was established again by James in 2002, and it embarked on a series of research and product development projects with research partners, including Strathclyde University and other research bodies in the UK and further afield. And Be Vital's gone on to develop a range of propolis-based health products that are all backed by credible scientific research that either we've undertaken internally or with our research partners, or has been undertaken by other researchers around the globe. And then we've got Sweet Cecily's, which is our skincare brand. And this was established by Cecily, who is one of James's daughters, and her brother Hugo, and they were both involved in managing Nature's Laboratory at the time. And Sweet Cecily's has produced a range of really excellent natural skincare products, creams and face masks and lip balms, and some of our most popular products are our make your own kits, which allow people to use the raw ingredients and combine them to produce their own lip balm kits and other things as well. So those are our three kind of commercial brands, but our network and our kind of interaction with other organisations extends far beyond our own doorstep. So as I've said, we work collaboratively with lots of research partners around the world, universities and other natural health organisations. We've also been at the forefront of developing collaborations between other organisations. So the IPRG is a good example of that. That's the International Propolis Research Group, and it's a collective of researchers and research organisations from around the globe who are all looking at the medicinal use of propolis. We've developed a few projects in-house, more on the kind of technology side of things, so that's my background, including Hive Chat, which is a platform for communication for running online events and conferences. And we also support a community interest company in Whitby called Common Cause, which is a not-for-profit organisation looking to promote and maintain and support natural health in the community. And part of that work involves running a health shop called The Dispensary. And Nature's Laboratory are really pleased and proud to be partnering with Common Cause in making that possible by supporting their staff wages and covering some of the financial costs of running a not-for-profit organisation. So that's a bit about who we are and what we do. So let's now have a look at producing herbal medicine manufacturing. So the kinds of herbal medicines that we produce, as I mentioned a bit earlier, include things like tinctures and fluid extracts, which of course are liquid products. Then we've got dried herbs in whole cut and powdered forms. We produce from them capsules of various kinds. And then there's things like blended formulations, which can be a blended liquid or could be a blended capsule formulation. We produce creams, infused oils, and then a few other things like pessaries. We have an aromatherapy essential oil range, and that kind of thing. So quite wide-ranging natural medicine range. But the process and the kind of the products that we're focusing on for this talk is our tinctures and fluid extracts, and they're produced by a process called hydroethanolic percolation. And this is a process we use for all of our liquid products. So effectively we take the raw herbs in cut or whole form, and we put them in a stainless steel vessel combined with the appropriate amount of liquid, and the liquid is a ratio of water and alcohol, and it varies depending on which formulation we're making. The liquid is then circulated through the herb by means of an electric pump, and the circulation can either be a constant flow or it can be a kind of stop-start flow, depending on how much liquid to herb, what the ratio is of liquid to herb, and how quickly the liquid moves through the herb back down to the bottom of the vessel to be recirculated. So yeah, it can either be a constant flow or it can be a stop-start process. And then after 7 days or so, the herb is pressed to extract as much of the liquid as possible, and then it's stored in bulk storage before being bottled down into smaller quantities to go out to our practitioners. So when it comes to quality in herbal manufacture, what do we really mean? Well, at Nature's Laboratory, it begins with sourcing high quality raw ingredients. Of course, you can't make a high quality product without high quality raw ingredients. It means storing those ingredients in a way that maintains quality until they're ready for production. And then it means using high quality manufacturing equipment which doesn't detract from the quality of those raw ingredients. It means developing and implementing production methods which maximize quality, which get the most out of the raw ingredients. And then it also means supporting your actual products by providing a high quality product range, by supplying our customers' needs. It means having staff who are knowledgeable and can offer advice and support around those products. It means offering a high quality delivery service with prompt delivery. And I think it means offering excellent aftercare in terms of customer service, but also then comprehensive product documentation so that our customers can understand how their products have been made and the quality parameters that we're working to. And at Nature's Laboratory, we work under a number of quality accreditations. So those include things like organic certification and the herb mark from the BHMA, which is a relatively new quality standard designed just for herbal manufacturers, and it kind of verifies that we're operating and producing things in a high quality way, that our manufacturing processes are of a high quality and that our finished products are of a high quality. And we also operate under ISO 9001, which ensures that we are continually improving what we're doing and seeking to always optimize our processes and make things better, both in terms of streamlining what we do in the factory, but also producing better quality products for our customers. But outside of that, there are a few other things that I think are actually quality marks. And these include things like our climate positive workforce mark from Ecology, and our good business charter mark, and our living wage mark, which all kind of verify our claims of social and ethical responsibility. But these are more than just kind of marks, check marks to make us feel good about ourselves, because I actually think that when staff come to work in a place that values them, that operates in a way which recognises their unique skills and gives them opportunity to develop those, and staff are paid responsibly for the work that they do, then actually that contributes to them producing higher quality products. And so far from being kind of add-ons or kind of things that we feel we should do, actually these really contribute to us producing high quality products here at Nature's Laboratory. But ultimately, on a daily basis, when it comes to the nuts and bolts of ensuring product quality in herbal manufacture, much of it comes down to the implementation of HACCP principles. And HACCP stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, and it's basically a management system in which safety and quality are addressed through the analysis and control of biological, chemical and physical hazards, from raw material production, procurement and handling to manufacturing, distribution and consumption of the finished products. And at Nature's Laboratory, HACCP principles guide every step of our manufacturing processes, and our team are trained in HACCP principles to make sure that they understand why they're implementing certain things and how to operate within the guidelines of HACCP in order to ensure that our quality control procedures are robust. And HACCP generally consists of 7 key principles, and we're going to take each one in turn and have a look in a bit of detail at what each one means. So principle number 1 is to conduct a hazard analysis. And this is a list of hazards which are reasonably likely to cause injury or illness if not effectively controlled. So it might be things like considering the quality of the raw materials. It might be looking at processing steps and making sure that there's, understanding where the hazards are in that area. It might mean looking at the hazards in storage and recognizing whether there's the possibility of contamination of any kind or a product going bad and being sent out to a customer. It might mean looking at distribution and how you're sending your products out to make sure there isn't any risk to either the delivery driver or the consumer. So the hazard analysis part of the process kind of enables you to build a list of things which you need to keep under control in order to ensure product safety. But it also prompts you to determine control measures or actions and processes which are going to be implemented in order to control those hazards. The next principle is principle 2, to identify critical control points. And these are steps at which a control can be applied in order to prevent a hazard or reduce it to an acceptable level. So a critical control point is located at any step where a hazard can be prevented, eliminated or reduced. So for example, for us, this could be a labelling process designed to ensure accurate identification of the herbs within the factory. So it doesn't actually need to happen as part of the production process, but it's a critical control point because we have chosen to implement a labelling system which allows us to track products through the factory to make sure that everything can be easily identified and that there isn't going to be any problem with the wrong ingredients being picked further down the production line. Or it might mean storing herbs in additional bags to prevent infestation. Again, it might be something that doesn't necessarily need to happen as far as production goes, but it's been determined that there is a risk at this point, and so we're going to do something about it to control the risk, and that's a critical control point. Principle 3 is to establish critical limits for each critical control point. So these are maximum or minimum values to which a biological, chemical or physical parameter must be controlled at a critical control point in order to prevent, eliminate or reduce a hazard to an acceptable level. So ideally these will always be based on empirical data, something which is measurable, such as temperature, weight, time and so on. So it might be things like the maximum length of time between receiving goods and them passing through quality control and into storage. That might be there might be a critical limit applied to that to ensure that there can't be any infestation or some other problem arise with the quality of the raw material as it arrives into your facility. Or it might mean something like measuring the pH level of the finished product and making sure that it's within defined parameters to ensure it's safe for consumption. Principle 4 is to establish critical control point monitoring requirements. So this is monitoring which is a planned sequence of observations or measurements which assess whether a CCP is under control and also produces an accurate record for future verification. It serves 3 purposes in total. It facilitates the tracking of manufacturing processes. It's used to determine if a deviation from a critical control point has occurred, exceeding a critical limit, and it also provides written documentation for use in verification further down the line. Again, ideally, critical control point monitoring should be continuous, but this isn't always possible depending on how your processes work. So if continuous monitoring is not possible, then a monitoring frequency and procedure should be established which is reliable enough to indicate an exceeded critical control point. And of course, the whole point of the HACCP system is to avoid these problems of quality and safety arising. But ideal circumstances don't always prevail. So we have principle number 5, which is to establish corrective actions. So if something does go wrong, if a critical control point is exceeded, this would generate a non-conformance, a problem within the processing or the manufacturing of your products, and so you would want to do something about that. So a corrective action should include the following 3 elements. It should determine and correct the cause of the non-conformance. So what went wrong and how can we prevent it from going wrong again? It should determine the problem with the non-conformant product. So actually what's wrong with the product specifically? What has the failing in the HACCP system resulted in? And then you should record the corrective actions that have been taken, so that again they can be verified later on, or they can be built into some kind of review mechanism that you would use to monitor the system as a whole. Principle number 6 is to establish procedures for ensuring that the HACCP system is working as intended. So verification is defined as activities other than monitoring. So this isn't your regular monitoring of checking whether a CCP has been exceeded or not. It's a totally separate procedure for verifying that the HACCP system is working as intended. And it could include things like thoroughly checking that the HACCP plan is scientifically and technically sound. It's just a paper-based exercise, or it could mean walking around your facility and actually observing every process. But however it works for you, that's one way of ensuring that your HACCP system is working as intended. It could mean checking that all hazards have been identified, and you might want to invite another expert in to have a look and see if they can observe anything which they feel should be included in the hazard analysis. And it should also ensure that HACCP has been properly implemented. So you can come up with a HACCP plan, you can have your list of hazards, you can have your control measures, but if you haven't actually implemented it properly and your staff aren't trained to know what to look out for in terms of non-conformances, that kind of thing, then it's really irrelevant. So you have to make sure it's been properly implemented. So it might require expert advice, it might require implant observations, measurements and evaluations. It will depend on what you're making and how you're making it. And ultimately, periodic comprehensive verification of HACCP should be conducted to make sure that the system as a whole is operating and providing the value that it should do in terms of ensuring product safety. And the final principle, principle 7, is to establish record-keeping procedures. So these are records that will include the hazard analysis that you undertook at the start of the creating your HACCP plan, the HACCP plan itself, so how you're going to counter these hazards and keep them under control, any supporting documentation, and any records which are generated during the operation of the plan. It should be an ongoing document, something that's alive and is added to regularly and is monitored and amended as necessary. So that's kind of the theory of HACCP, the 7 principles. But how does this work in reality? And specifically, how does it work in reality at Nature's Laboratory? Well, for us, it begins with supplier approval. So we exercise rigorous due diligence on every supplier that we work with. And this can include things like verifying their quality credentials and accreditations. It could mean checking their product documentation, such as certificates of analysis, and making sure that their quality control measures are as stringent as our own. It can mean ensuring traceability. it could mean requesting samples, product samples, and both for kind of internal verification, but also we could send those off to a third-party lab for analysis of one kind or another. And this process ensures that we only work with reputable suppliers who can prove that their the raw ingredients that they will be supplying to us are of a sufficient quality for us to use in our own manufacturing. The next thing is production planning. So we use historical data to forecast how much of which products to make every week. And this ensures that we don't hold more stock than we're likely to sell within a product's best before end date. So it has been the case in the past that actually too much of a specific product was made, and it resulted in products being wasted as they were unable to be sold after the end of their BBE. So using historical data and forecasting accurately means that we can make enough of a product for it to be a cost-effective production run, but not so much that we won't sell it and end up wasting it. And the result is that our customers receive a better quality product because it's spent less time in storage. We've made the right amount to serve our customers' needs over the next period of time, and that provides a better quality product and experience for our customers. The next step would be our goods in processes. We receive regular deliveries of herbs at our factory in Whitby, and we make sure that every single bag passes through our quality control measures to make sure that it's safe for use in our production. Every single bag is tested and a sample is stored for future reference. It's checked against previous samples to look for any variation in quality. And then everything is labelled to make sure that it's easily identifiable and that there can't be any cross-contamination between different products. Now, nothing passes into production unless it's passed our quality assessment. And all our products, all our herbs are stored in double bags to make sure that any contamination or infestation can't occur. This is a photo of some of the samples that have been taken. You can see there that they've got different batch numbers, but that the product looks the same, and that's just one of the checks that we do when we receive a new batch of herbs into the factory. And then every bag gets a quality check label that's been signed and countersigned by someone else, so that two people at least are checking the paperwork for every delivery of herbs as it arrives to make sure it is what we expect it to be and that it's labelled correctly. And then every bag gets its batch number, unique batch number, and its BBE and the weight stuck on the outside, so things are easily identifiable to staff as they move them from storage into production. And whilst in storage, all our herbs are double bagged, as I've said, in these thick plastic bags to protect them. The next stage would be work production orders. So these are documents that detail the ingredients required for each batch of medicine that we're making. And at this point, again, there's quite a risk that the wrong herbs are going to be picked, that they might be weighed out incorrectly, that kind of thing. So there's lots of cross-checking of information at this point to make sure that the label on the bag matches the batch number on the WUPO, that the right amount of herb is weighed out correctly and that's recorded, that the correct amount of alcohol is measured out and that's recorded, and that all the batch numbers for the raw materials that are entering production are recorded, so that we can ensure traceability further down the line should we have to look back through a production record to find out where a problem arose. And so there's lots of records kept at this point. There's lots of paperwork to support this process to make sure that the products that we produce contain the ingredients that they should at the right ratios and concentrations to make sure that the finished result is a high quality product. And this is an example of a work production order on the wall, complete with a label. So when the work production order is produced, we produce a series of labels that go on both the production vessels but then also onto the bulk storage containers once the liquid has been pressed. And these are produced in advance so that they're ready to be used as soon as that step is reached in the process, so that there can't be any risk of mislabeling something or something not being labelled and then it becoming unidentifiable. And here are a few vessels with their work production orders above them, with the labels, the spare labels for the bulk storage, but also you can see the matching label on the bag that's inside the steel vessel, so that these can always be matched. The next step in ensuring our product quality is our production processes. So every production process is thoroughly documented, and staff are required to follow these instructions to ensure that they maintain product quality. And this includes things like labelling of vessels and documenting of processes, as we've just mentioned. But it also covers things like how to correctly pick ingredients to make sure that the right batch is used and that things are used in order of BBE to maintain and optimize product quality. It's about measuring ingredients correctly and also monitoring the flow of liquid during production to ensure that the extraction process is operating as it should do. So here's a vessel mid-production. You can see the liquid flowing out of the spray head there and back into the bag to be recirculated by the pump below. This particular batch had a high liquid to herb ratio, so there's plenty of liquid, but some of our formulations are 1-to-1. They're a fluid extract, or they're made using a particularly absorbent herb, which means it can take a long time for the liquid to settle from the top all the way back down to the bottom of the vessel. So as I said at the beginning, some of our circulation processes are constant. Others are a kind of stop-start process, depending on how quickly the liquid flows back through the herb. So the next step would be bottling and labelling, and finished products are pressed under our 30-ton press to extract as much liquid as possible, and then they're stored in their bulk containers. And as I've said, the labels for these are produced ahead of time to make sure that as soon as the liquid is pressed, it goes into the bulk containers and it's labelled correctly. But then as liquids are bottled down into smaller quantities, there are strict instructions for staff to follow to make sure that things can't be mislabelled, such as only bottling down one product at a time to make sure that there can't be any kind of mixing up of products and labels. This is our big press, used for pressing the liquid at the end of the production process. Here are some bulk containers with their labels on, detailing what they are. And then these are some of the smaller bottles with the individual small labels on at the end of the process. And at this point we do some product analysis. So before anything is allowed to be sold to a customer, it goes through quality checking again at the end of the process. And they're subject to two tests, the pH level and the specific gravity testing. So pH testing ensures that the product is within safe parameters for consumption, and specific gravity testing checks for the appropriate level of alcohol and the total dissolvable solids that are contained within the liquid after the extraction process to make sure that they're within the defined acceptable parameters. And we're also beginning to send batches for mandatory bacterial testing as an extra level of kind of quality management and assurance. And all of these tests are designed to ensure product safety, and it's only once they've passed through the pH testing and the specific gravity testing that we allow products to be sold onto our consumers. Next comes product documentation. So for every product we create, every product we make, we create a certificate of analysis document which details certain things about the product, such as their batch number, BBE, the country of origin, and more. And these documents are produced before the products are placed on sale. So again, as something's passing through quality checking, the COA document is produced, and as soon as that product is made available to a practitioner, the COA is available for them to download should they want to check anything about the product that they've bought And this ensures that customers have immediate access to high quality documentation which supports their high quality product. And here's an example of a COA document. Then we've got storage and product life cycle. So all our products are stored at ambient temperatures, but we use amber coloured bottles to protect them from photo degradation. And tinctures and fluid extracts are given a 3-year shelf life, which can be extended provided bacterial testing is performed and the bacterial test confirms that the product is still within safe limits. But as I mentioned at the start of the process, we're forecasting how much we should make of any one product at any given time, and this has resulted in a massive reduction in the amount of products that end up needing extending at the end of their initial BBE, because we're only making as much as we can reasonably sell in any given time. So this of course ensures product quality, because we're not selling products which have had their BBE extended even though they're perfectly safe and fit for consumption. All of our products are stored in our bottle storage area. And then customer service, kind of the final step. So we monitor our stock levels really carefully to make sure that we're offering a quality service as far as ordering goes, because there's nothing more frustrating than ordering something and then finding out it's out of stock. So we've done a lot of work on making sure that our stock levels are well managed. We've, as I've said, make our COA and our product documentation available to our practitioners as soon as we can, and really easily accessible. So there's a QR code on our labels, and if you scan that, then you get a direct link to a page on our website from which you can download the COA directly, which saves having to ask for it. So it saves a lot of time. And our team actively monitor customer feedback. So we love getting feedback about our products from our practitioners. It really helps us improve things. And that's all part of our customer service, but it's also part of our product quality management. And every part of our production process is aimed at maximizing customer satisfaction through product quality. So everything from how we store our ingredients and where we get them from all the way through to our customer service. Everything's geared towards producing the highest quality herbal medicines and offering the highest quality service alongside. So those are very kind of tangible, everyday aspects of what it means to create a high quality herbal medicine. But what about improving our extraction methods and actually getting more out of the plants? Well, we are looking at this actively at Nature's Laboratory, and we're developing technology in-house which will allow us to monitor our production processes in far more detail. And our aim is to pair innovative, smart manufacturing equipment with repeatable processes which can be easily measured and monitored. And then once we've done that and we've built our kind of manufacturing infrastructure, we'll be able to use our in-house HPLC machine to analyse the finished products and use this data to direct any changes we want to make. So we can make a batch of a particular herbal medicine, a tincture or a fluid extract. We can use a particular machine and a particular kind of manufacturing process to produce it. We can test the finished product, and then we can tweak either the machine or the process to try and optimize it further. And then of course we can compare results over time and see if we're making things better or not. And this process will be iterative. It'll take quite a long time to establish, but once it's up and running, we hope it will really help to optimize our product quality, to give us really tangible data about whether we're making a better or worse product this week than last week. And we can pass that data on to our practitioners so that they too can be really confident about the quality of the products that we're manufacturing. And of course, much of this is made possible through smart digital technology, because it involves monitoring things in a way that wouldn't be possible if we had to do it manually. So we're building technology to allow us to monitor the production of our herbal medicines, and this is giving us access to data that wasn't previously possible. So we can monitor the flow of liquid, we can monitor environmental conditions like temperature and that kind of thing. And this can help improve quality by alerting staff to problems and enabling comprehensive digital record keeping. So if there's a blockage in a pump, we can alert staff to that as soon as it occurs, rather than them maybe not noticing for a few hours. And as well as running our manufacturing equipment, we can use technology to monitor our physical environment, such as the temperature and humidity within the factory, which we're already doing, and that data will become available on our COA documents soon, so that practitioners can know the conditions in which their product was both manufactured and also stored, both as a raw material and also as a finished product. Of course, digital technology also allows us to communicate with other organisations, with our research partners and other manufacturers, both in the UK and further afield. And that can really help improve product quality, because we can have conversations and share ideas that previously wasn't possible. And HPLC analysis and other technologies are becoming far more accessible and affordable, enabling even smaller businesses to benefit from this kind of analysis, which can be really helpful and really drive forward product quality in a really constructive way. So finally, just a few thoughts on the future of herbal medicine and where we see it going. So at Nature's Laboratory, we are committed to the future of herbal medicine. And modern science is providing a strong evidence base for the continued use of plant-based medicines. And so we envisage a future where sustainably and ethically grown plants are paired with highly optimized extraction methods to create the most effective herbal medicines. And public perception of medicine is shifting as we reconnect to a deeper understanding of health and well-being. And I think that in this context, a broad spectrum herbal medicine will become part of mainstream healthcare once again. And so the future of herbal medicine connects sustainably and ethically grown plants with people, and is backed by rigorous scientific research where the only variation in quality arises from natural variances in plant biology and not in manufacturing processes. So we optimize our extraction processes to the point where the only variation in how high quality a finished product is down to the quality of the raw material. I think that's where we're headed. That's what I'm currently occupied with here at Nature's Laboratory. And if you want to know more about anything that we're up to, you can visit us online at natureslaboratory.co.uk, or you can have a look at our individual brand websites at herbalapothecaryuk.com, bevitalpropolis.com and sweetcecilies.com. And if you'd like to be in touch with me about anything that I've mentioned, you've got any questions you want to ask, please email me at jack@natureslaboratory.co.uk, or you can find me at Jack Barber on Twitter, or you can even call me on 01947 602 346, and I'd be glad to have a conversation with you. I hope that's been interesting and informative. As I say, I'll put some links in the description for the kind of projects that we're working on outside of our mainstream kind of manufacturing of herbal medicines. And if you've got any questions, any comments, I'd be glad to hear them.